Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. And today I'm coming back at you with another video that is kind of scary because it happened to me last night. I also want to apologize for not posting a video yesterday. I kind of wanted to just chill out. I'm still doing the daily videos, but you know, ever since I took a few days here and there, it's like it doesn't really matter to me anymore. So I feel like now and then I can just take a little chill day, which I think I deserve. But anyway guys, so last night I was actually talking to my grandmother about the black-eyed children. She'd never heard of it, and I was telling her the story. I don't know if you guys remember. It's weird because supposedly the black-eyed children was like actual encounters that people really had with these like children that would knock on your house between 2-3 in the morning, and they would always ask to come in because they want to use a phone or they're lost. They would always have some reason to come inside your house. Now I was telling my grandma that years ago, like 2015, 16, something like that, the black-eyed children was a real like thing that was going on all over the country, all over multiple countries. There's so many different stories of people having these type of encounters with the black-eyed children, mostly in rural areas like farmhouses and stuff like that. Now, because I was talking about it again, and I haven't talked about the black-eyed children in so long, and it actually was one of my favorite things to talk about. The black-eyed children was one of my favorite, I guess you could say, urban legends, because nobody ever really knew what they were or what their purpose was. There's no stories of them actually killing anybody, but there was stories about people letting them into the house, and then they would just nonchalantly leave shortly after, and then the people who live in the house would start to get sick with things like cancer. So it almost seems like people didn't really know if the black-eyed children were ghosts or whether they were alien. But it seemed like the black-eyed children were in some way radioactive, almost like you could literally catch cancer just from being around them. Some people had no idea what the black-eyed children were and would let them in the house, and then shortly after would either get sick and die, or like their animals would like detect that there's something wrong with these kids, and the cats and the dogs would be terrified of the black-eyed children. But also there would be some people who would notice beforehand that their eyes were black, and something is very wrong here. These children were not normal children. They didn't have any expressions or emotions. They would seem kind of robotic almost, and people would see that their eyes were black, knew instantly that something was wrong, and would refuse to let them in, which would enrage the children. They would start to get very aggressive and angry, and they would start walking around your house to every window, banging on the window, looking through your window, asking you to let them in. And I feel like even though nobody really talks about the black-eyed children anymore, which makes me think it's kind of a trend and it never really was true, because otherwise if it were true, it would still be going on, right? But anyway, I was talking to my grandma about this yesterday, and I think it must have been on my mind. I literally haven't thought about the black-eyed children in years. I used to make a lot of videos about them, but I was telling my grandma about them, and last night I went to bed after watching the Ear Biscuits of GMM, Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link. They have that channel, Ear Biscuits, where they do a podcast, and I watched the one where they were talking about do they believe in ghosts or not, and it wasn't scary. It's just kind of interesting to hear different people's opinions on the paranormal, and I went to bed, and after that I had a wild dream, guys, and I can only remember a small part of it, which is it took place in what I thought at the time looked like a hotel hallway, like a very long hotel hallway, which I did post a picture. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you should, by the way, links in the description, but I do post a lot of liminal space pictures, and I did recently post one of what looks like a hotel hallway that's like endless, and it just goes on and on and on. You got the doors on the left and the right, but that's just all it is, a very narrow hallway with doors on either side, but it appears to be endless. So maybe that was like on my mind too, that and the black-eyed children. And my sister is pregnant at the moment, so she's having a baby. So obviously that, like, I know about it, I'm aware of it, so maybe that was like somewhere in my brain too. But I had this dream that there was this long hallway, and I was kind of at the end of the hallway where there was like, it would turn off to, this is going to be so hard to explain, but there's like a box room. It was just a big square, nothing there, no doors, nothing. It was kind of a dead end. And if you like turn back on the way I was, so like you got this narrow hallway that goes like to the end, and then it turned to the left, and then there was just this big open room that was a square shape, but there was nothing there. It was empty, and it kind of looked a little bit like the back rooms, but the hallway itself, so like I would be in that little area where there was just nothing but a tent, And inside this tent, it was like a single person's tent or a 2-person tent. It was like a tent like that. And when you like unzip the tent and open it, there's an even smaller tent inside of it. And my sister was sleeping in there, and she was pregnant. And there was like a gap between the door of the biggest tent, the big tent, and then the smaller tent inside. So there was this little gap, like this big. And I guess that's where I was going to be sleeping. So I was like protected by 1 layer of the tent. My sister was protected by 2 layers of the tent, because she was like in a tent, if you get me. Now, there was something really weird about this hotel hallway though. So I would go toward where the hallway was, and I would like peep to the right, and like there would be doors open, but it wasn't like normal like hotel room doors that were open. They would open outward. And they were almost like cupboards, because my mom has this like built-in cupboard under the stairs that's like a pop-in one. Like you push on it and it pops open like about this much, and then when you want to shut it again, you push it and pops back into place and it stays shut. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but they like pop in and pop out. You don't need any handles. That's the beauty of them. There's no handles. But this hallway was kind of like those type of doors, just pop in and pop out ones. And I was popping them into place and shutting them. Then I would go back to the tent. Then when I would go back to the hallway again, some of them, like odd ones here and there, were just like popped out. Like somebody had pushed on them and opened them, and they would be about open this much. And I started to get a little frustrated, because I was like, who's doing this? Who keeps opening these doors? So I went back to the tent, and then I decided to go and take a peep around the hallway again. So I like peep around the corner like this, and I look down the hallway, and I actually see like a couple of them are already open, but I actually see one getting opened, and it like popped open, and then it popped closed again, which confirmed to me that it wasn't just like a problem with the door, like maybe the magnet or whatever isn't holding it shut, so they're popping open. It literally closed again and popped back into place. That was like, I remember feeling super freaked out at that point in the dream. I felt like this is like actual something paranormal is going on here. So my first thought is to go back to the tent. So I get in the tent, I get into that little gap between the door of the big tent and the smaller tent inside. So I'm laying in that little kind of little section where there's nothing. My sister is inside the tent, and she was pregnant in the dream too. The next thing, 2 little kids come around from the hallway, and they come over. There's 2 of them, and the hallway is like kind of dingy and dark, so just keep that in mind. But these 2 kids, I don't know who they are really, but in the dream it was as if I knew them, and I was like, come on in. So I let them get in the tent with me and my sister. They step over me to get into the part of the tent that my sister is in. So the 2 kids get in there with my sister. I guess because I'm the man, I have to be like on the front. So if shit goes down, I'm the first one to die. So that's how it was in the dream. These 2 little kids step over me, get into the tent. Thinking back now, I don't know who they were, but it felt like they were just like somebody that I knew in the dream. I was like, come on, get in. But then there was another child. Now this is where it got fucking weird. This child came along. She was probably about 5 years old, a very small girl. I'm saying small while I'm like doing this. She was very small, like 5 years old. She had dark hair. She had like these little pigtails that were only like, not even shoulder length, just kind of like went like this and ended about here. And she looked a little bit, thinking back now, she looked a little bit like Boo from Monsters, Inc., if you guys remember that movie. She looked a little bit like her, but a slightly older version. And this child walked over, and I remember thinking instantly, I thought, who the fuck is this? Like, I don't remember this child. So this child comes over, she stands right at the doorway of the tent where I'm literally laying down at this point. So I'm like vulnerable anyway, because I'm laying down. I'm not in a fighting position. And I look at this child, she's like, I'm looking up at her because she's standing and I'm laying. And I look at her, she's got black eyes. I'm not even kidding you guys, and it freaked me out. I woke up, I screamed, I may have peed a little in the bed. I'm not too sure about that. I was profusely sweating. It was insane. It was such a fucking scary dream. It might sound funny to you guys, but it was so scary. So yeah, I had an encounter with a black-eyed child in a scary, creepy-ass fucking backrooms looking ass hotel. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was a fun dream to talk about, at least. It wasn't fun to experience. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash a like on it if you did, and of course, I'll see you right back here in the next video. Peace out, and chase your dreams.